Welcome to Failed Forward, a podcast for professionals who are wondering, how the hell did I get here?
Join your host, Rachel Durkan, and me, Donna Miller, as we discuss the messy, bumpy, and often unattractive journey to success.
After all, if it isn't hard to do, is it really worth doing? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Failed Forward, the podcast for those of us wondering, how the hell did I get here and what the hell am I doing right now? My name is Rachel Durkan. I'm with Paradigm Marketing and Design. We are a web marketing, branding, and sales enablement agency that specializes in working with clients with a complex sale. So if you have a sales team that is required to close deals, we can help build a marketing to sales infrastructure to make them more efficient, drive more qualified leads, and increase their close rate. And I am joined every week by my co-host, Donna Miller. Donna, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this, shall we say it,
Mm-hmm.
final episode of Failed Forward. How did I get here? I am Donna Miller. I am president and founder of C3 Works and Donna Miller Business Growth Consulting, where for the last 30 years, we've been helping business owners and professionals to accelerate their growth by providing advisory and support services around biz dev, operations, and finance. We allow growing teams and business owners to work smarter by focusing on that which really, truly drives the business forward. And our clients know that by coming to us, we're going to build systems that are efficient, connected, and executable, either by them or by us. And really what they're doing is they're laying the foundation to build a company that will run and grow without them. And ultimately, it's an asset they can sell. So we're happy to help you with that as well. And so, as I said in my intro, Rachel and I have decided that we've done quite a few episodes. I don't know how many. I don't even know. 50 or so, yeah. So we're going to put a pin in this Failed Forward how the hell did I get here podcast, and that made me think of a book that I've been reading, and so I thought this would be a great theme for our farewell here. It is a book by Dr. Henry Cloud called Necessary Endings, and I want to tell you how I got there. Many of you may know that I am in the process. I have sold half of my company, and I will spend the next couple of years helping Michelle Hagan, who is the new owner and my partner, get her feet under her and make sure everything continues. And so I find myself at a necessary ending. I'm approaching. I mean, I'm of retirement age. I didn't really think I'd ever retire. But I am going to, and I'm trying to slow down. And this concept of necessary endings, I picked up this book and I started reading, and it really spoke to me. And I think that throughout my life, there have been lots of necessary endings, and I think this shows up everywhere in our lives, professionally, personally. And I think that in the spirit of failing forward, for me, I've probably taken far too long to actually do the ending in many areas of my life, both professionally and personally. And I guess, Rachel, you probably have situations that
I think
even right. We sit here now and we're like, should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this? So how has that showed up for you?
I mean, I want to learn more about the book and your vision for it, because one thing that I think I'm going to answer your question in a second, but that you're amazing at is your self-awareness of head trash, and at least from an outsider looking in. And what I mean by that is, you decide you want to do something. There's no guilt. There's no shame. There's like, this is what I'm doing. This is what's best for me, period. And that's always been really inspiring to me, because it's like a high type A personality. I'm like, well, what if I disappoint someone with leaving? What if and after like being friends with you for years, I'm like, I don't give a shit. What would Donna do? I'm like, Donna wouldn't give a shit. Donna would know that it's time to move on. And if I look back in my life, one of my biggest mistakes was holding on to things for too long, but it's really hard to realize when you're in it that you should let it go.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've been grappling with that I think relates to this is, when you decide you want to end something, do you feel like you need to accomplish something first? So like, I want to retire, but I want the company to be at this much revenue. Or I want to retire, but this is what I need. Like, I feel like we set these goals for ourselves, and then you think to yourself, did I really need to hit that goal, or should I have just retired? So I guess to me, it's like the head trash concept of like when to end something. So I'd love to hear more about the book and your thoughts with all of that.
So what I was saying is, sometimes, we look like we know what we're doing, but we're really struggling. And I have to say that, you may think that I make these decisions and these endings, like a badass and I don't have any emotion over it. But I have to tell you that I always put a lot of time and effort
Mhm.
into making these choices. I've gotten better over the years. And I will say, you and I went 2019, I think it was. We went to the One Thing conference,
Yeah.
and we had this great group of women that we kind of created our strategies around the One Thing, and that was super helpful. And the One Thing, taught me to get clear on, what I should be focusing on. But there was also a phrase in there that we've all used, which is, it's either a hell yes or it's a no.
I love
That,
that. I tell my
yeah,
team that. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
do we need to
yeah,
hire this person? Hell yes or no? Are we, sorry,
yeah.
but that's
So that's the barometer that I try to hold up more and more. But for me, this decision to retire, it's so emotional because this is my identity. This is what I do. This is who I've been for the last almost 40 years. I worked in the industry for 7 years before I opened my own, and we've been 30 years. So 40 years is a long time. And I don't think that we realize how much we've ingrained some things and how some things have become our default that didn't used to be our default. And so this book, Necessary Endings, really talks about, think of the concept of pruning a tree. You have to get the dead branches off so that those dead branches are not sucking the life out of the
Mhm.
rest of the tree. It's a simple analogy, but it's so accurate. So I've spent a lot of time over the last year in preparing to sell. I've really spent a lot of time thinking about, what am I doing that brings me joy?
Mhm.
How do I want to spend the rest of my life? What do I want to be doing? Who do
Mhm.
I want to surround myself with? And I have to tell you that it's made me um, walk away from a couple of friendships that were
Yeah.
just all I did was listen to somebody rant four
Yeah.
times a week
Great.
in the
Was it,
morning. And
do you want to
and
talk
it's
to
like,
them? Hell yes or no?
totally stole my joy, like totally stole my joy. I got really protective of that morning time and that headspace. Um, so this concept of necessary endings, I think I'm embracing it now. But I know for me, I think one of the areas, I mean, there's two areas that I could think of that I really held on for way longer than I should have. Um, and I've had many staff members that I held on to
Oh
way
yeah.
longer than I should have. And it's the old, they're not doing well, let's put them on performance improvement plan. And then we let the performance improvement plan go on way too long, and we ignore the KPIs and the fact
Mhm.
that they're not really making progress. And I try, and she tries, and she tries, and he tries. And we had a person during COVID that, oh my gosh, we should have let that person go 2 years earlier. So I think staffing is one area. And to be really frank, I ended a relationship that in the middle of COVID that went on
Yeah. Mhm.
far too long, a major. And when you look back, so I guess what I would say is, I would encourage you, and I want to hear your perspective on this, to really get quiet,
Mhm.
which, when you've owned a business for 30 years, getting quiet is a real challenge.
Mhm.
Slowing down has been way harder than speeding up. And I think the reality is, unless you slow down, you're not like allowing space for the for
Yeah.
the for the ideas and the realizations to come. Um, so I think it's a process. I'm really looking at everything I do with a different lens, and that's why I love this podcast. But
Yeah.
this is a necessary ending. It's no longer serving where I'm going, personally or professionally. And that's how you and I operate. We're not going to
Mhm.
continue doing something that doesn't make sense. So understanding the concept of necessary endings and pruning, how does that affect your perspective?
Well, one of as you were talking, I was thinking about something is throughout my career, I've been in a lot of mastermind groups, I've had business coaches, and I'm a big believer that, a year or two and you're going to outgrow something, or you should outgrow it. And I've had lots of different masterminds and coaches over the years. And it's because when I was early in my company, that coach served me, but they couldn't take me to the next level. And so I think understanding that once you have plateaued, whether it's plateauing in growth of the company, plateauing in growth of yourself, plateauing in growth of where you want to be, like, and that can be descending, right? you've got to stop, evaluate, and say, is everything still serving me, my new goal? And I don't think we do that. I don't even think we think
I
about our new
agree.
goal often enough.
Right. Right.
And as you're saying it now, I'm going to do an exercise later to like write down my new goals and figure out where I need to be. But it's something that I think we need to consciously do and evaluate regularly. Put it in your calendar every quarter or every 6 months or something like that, because we always just run, run, run and do, and don't think about where do I want to be and what do I need to get there? What's serving me and what's not. And you want to talk a little bit about hell yes or hell or no, because I use that. I forget to use it, but when I do, it is the best thing I've ever. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And you get to a place where, when you first start your business, you'll say yes to anything and everything because,
mhm,
you're trying to grow it and you're working 80 hours a week and blah, 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 blah. But I think as time goes on, you just successful. What is it? Warren Buffett says, the difference between really successful people and really, really, really successful people is that the really, really, really successful people say no to almost everything.
mhm,
And that means you have to be willing to say no to good opportunities to be able to take advantage of the great opportunities.
mhm,
And I think necessary endings is the same thing. And I love the idea of combining endings with goal settings. Okay, if you're going to
mhm.
goal set, what are you going to end? Because there's no way that everything
Now
you're
what are you
doing
going
that
to
you've been
do?
to exactly is
Like New
going
Year's
to,
resolutions are always about like, here's what I'm going to start doing.
right,
Or, I mean, maybe it's like I'll stop drinking in January, but like for the most of it, I'm going to start doing something. But what are you going to stop doing is, I think, more important and overlooked often.
I agree. And I think that, not only does it come to, personal relationships and people we hire, but for me, it's also showed up as necessary endings in firing clients because
Mhm.
not every client still makes sense to work with.
Mhm.
So, we'll be talking on the team and when I find that we're having to have, multiple team conversations about the same client, the same client, the same
Mhm.
client, you got to say to yourself, okay, let's just figure this out. There's four of us. We're talking about this guy 45 minutes a month.
Mhm.
Let's add what that's
Yeah.
costing
How
us.
much?
Are we,
Yeah.
are we really making money on this client? And it's not always, I mean, making money is obviously important, but at the same
Headspace is
time,
important.
right. I mean, I'm sure you have too, but I've fired large clients
Yeah.
because they just were misaligned and they kind of belittled my people and that just isn't going to fly.
One
Um,
one of the things we just had this conversation the other day. I do this with clients. I do this with employees. I should do it more with people in my life, but I talk about putting pressure, turn them into a pearl or a diamond or like either they're going to become a diamond or they're going to crush like the coal, whatever the saying is, like it's going to turn to dust, right?
right.
And so if we have a client that's not working, I was just coaching one of my team members on this. I'm like, you need to push them hard. This is what I need from you. You can't talk to us like this. These are our new expectations. Either that will reset the client conversation and it will be a great client, or either we're gonna fire them or they're gonna fire us. So take that pressure moment and do the same thing with a team member. Like, I'm going to push you hard. And if you can't do what I need in a month, either you're going to quit or I'm going to fire you. But like, I've got nothing to lose except really pushing hard. And I got to tell you, that pressure strategy, I can think of at least 3 clients in the last 2 years where we applied it and they went from being the worst clients to the best clients. They
I
changed
I
their
agree.
entire attitude around us.
I think very often they need that, and I think that both clients and staff members respect that.
Mhm.
And what a great message! Talk about when you tell a client how they need to behave in this relationship. That is a loud message to your entire team.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
And it's funny because one of the leaders on my team who's rising up, instead of me having the conversations, I've been making her have all of them. So she had like 7 last week. And then you get good of them fast. They're uncomfortable, but all of them worked out because they respect you more. And I think but I mean, going back to necessary endings, I think it's the one thing that I wanted to caution everybody is this is not, I'm not promoting just, you know what, I don't feel like working anymore, I'm gonna quit. Like that's not the goal here. The goal here is evaluating first, can I quit? Should I quit? It's not doing something just because you don't want to do it anymore or it's frustrating you. It's about having a purpose and a path and a goal and a strategy, but looking at what should be taken away or stopped as opposed to what's being added, or looking at both equally is kind of my mindset here. So
Right.
guys, don't go out there and just be like, I don't want to do this anymore.
No, exactly. And the truth is, Pareto principle, and I bring this up all the time, says 20% of what you do will drive 80% of your results. So the truth is, it's incumbent upon each of us to figure out is what's my 20%, and nothing in life stays the same. So I don't know how often it needs to change, but I am telling you, whatever it was a year ago probably needs to be something different today. And that's just the nature of business. And I mean, even if you look at, artificial intelligence, we're all talking about it. If you're not using it, you have to. I mean, you have to look at automation. You have to look at these different things. And that's also part of my, and I'll be honest with you, and this is a little raw, part of my necessary ending is I just don't have the bandwidth to embrace everything that needs to be embraced today. I'm at the tail end. I'm like, I can lead other people to do that. I don't need to do that.
Is
So
it
it's
the
also,
bandwidth or the drive? Like, did you lose the
it's a,
passion for what you were doing? Some of
I
it.
didn't really lose the passion. I lost my capacity for being scrappy, for figuring it out. I'm tired. I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you. I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm kind of tired. I
Yeah.
also, while I did this over 40 years, raised two incredibly difficult children, and so
Yeah.
it's been like, it's been a couple of really rough years. And that's the thing is, and then COVID hits, and and you're just sitting there and your whole body's kind of vibrating from all this stuff that you have to deal with, and you have to figure out, and you have to make sure everybody's okay. And not only are you feeding the mouths of your family, it's all the people who work for you and all the clients that you serve. And
The pressure. Yeah.
yeah, I'm
You think
kind
about it
of,
a little bit.
I know that, I like sitting in my garden now and, going out there and doing my plants, and that's what brings me joy. And I will always work in some capacity, but it's not going to be at the level that I was. And so I think that, the necessary ending, probably the ultimate necessary ending is how you see yourself, and then ultimately how you see the world. And so, I'm no longer going to be, Donna Miller, business growth. I mean, I'll always do that, and I'll always volunteer, and I'll always speak. But
But now you're gonna be Donna Miller Gardner from 10
now,
to
now,
7
now I'll
a.m.
be, I'll be behind the curtain, and I'll be helping somebody else to do it. And that's, I've said this throughout my entire career: rising tide lifts all boats. Well, now it's time for me to help the next iteration. I won't even say generation, the next iteration of what's coming out of the, professional service world.
As somebody who, is used to being in charge and having the answers, what's it like handing the reins over and letting them shine? Is it painful?
It is so effing hard. It's not, I'll be honest with you, it's not hard. Oh, it's not hard to hand the reins over, because that's a process that's been going on for years now. I will tell you, it's hard to not be the fixer in my personal life. Because, right? Because I made a living out of fixing and figuring shit
I'm
out.
the same way. Everybody comes to me. Can you fix this? And I do.
Exactly. Anything happens in my family, I have 4 siblings,
They call you.
multiple nieces and nephews. Shh, Donna. And I find myself applying the same principles that I did at work. My first thing when people would ask me a question, I learned to not answer them, but to ask them another question.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think we should do? What do you think? So it's like,
whenever I call you, I know you're doing that to me. I'm like, you are coaching me right now. Just give me the freaking answer. Like,
I know. So, I mean, the podcast has been great. My career has been great. And, it's a really, I feel very blessed to be where I am. And, I'm not fully going away, but I'm going to travel. I'm going to garden. I'm going to have some fun.
all right, well then wrap us up as you're in the honorary end.
Well, okay. So I can't say until next episode, because this is our last episode. So what I want to say is, I do want to encourage all of you to embrace the concept of failure, because as you do so, you allow everyone around you to do the same thing. And I think that's super important as leaders, is that and that is why we did this podcast, right, Rachel? Because we wanted people to understand that this is not easy. This is not a straight line, and this is
None
not
of
easy.
us know
So
what we're doing.
exactly.
Actually, not knowing what I'm doing, get good at not knowing what you're doing.
There you go. Or get comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's kind of where when I lead, I try to make it safe for people to feel uncomfortable. So with that, Rachel, it's been great. And I wish all of you the greatest success, and I'll still be reachable on LinkedIn, and all the emails and the phone numbers that you have me, then they're not going anywhere, because I'm still
You're just
me.
going to respond slower.
I'm still me. Exactly. So thank you all for joining us for all these episodes. And although we've been talking about failure, of course, we wish you every success. So Rachel, any final words for our audience?
I can't beat that. Make sure
All right.
keep failing.
Keep failing.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Take care.